Hey, what's going on there, folks? Good evening. It is the Earthmaster back here to announce out here that I am ending the weekend. It's the end of the weekend, by the way. It's Sunday, July 23rd, 2023, about 10:32 p.m. here, California time. Notice some activity really stirring up out here across the Fiji Islands area, southward into the Tonga Trench. That's a lot of deeper movement taking place here from a 6.0 that stirred up here just earlier this evening, almost 600 kilometers deep. We've been followed up here by a couple aftershocks here in the 5.0 range, as you can see on the globe, or at least on the map here. We're looking at some major uptick here across the area of the Pacific. Watch this area pretty closely because as we know, things can really start stirring up here following this deeper movement that has been triggered across the Tonga Trench area. We'll watch this area pretty closely. We can expect, I'm pretty certain that we can expect some further large-scale movement here across the area of the western areas of the Pacific Plate. That includes areas around Papua New Guinea, Indonesia area. But also that large-scale movement can apply further strain upstream here across the area of the Tonga Trench. So watch this pretty closely here around this area. We have been seeing quite a bit of movement here over the past couple months in this Tonga Ridge area. And now with the deeper scale movement, that's only adding stress and strain across this area of the Tonga Ridge. We'll watch that closely throughout the coming days. All right, into the, a little bit closer to the Tonga area, 4.5 earlier this morning. Looks like that was about 275 kilometers deep. But this is kind of a big deal, folks. This activity here across the Tonga Trench deep into those levels kind of triggers the cycle. It's the tectonic cycle that tends to apply the further strain across the Pacific Plate boundary and the Java Trench. We'll watch this area pretty closely for some further movement here in the days ahead. That is some big time activity. As far as newer activity goes up here across the Japan region, we did see some further uptick just into the Izu Trench, 55 kilometers for a 4.4. Now we did see a little bit of further activity there on the EMSC globe. Looks like a couple fours stirred up there south of Japan within the newer models there of the rings. New Zealand, anything going on up there in New Zealand or down here in New Zealand? Well, it's kind of funny I mentioned that, and as soon as I said that, we got a 3.6 stirring up. Imagine that. That is some quantum physics right there. I'm kind of speaking things into existence right there with the earthquake activity there in New Zealand. I like that. 3.6 6 minutes ago. Man, I better play the lottery, or maybe better yet, I'll let someone else play it for me because I can never win. Every time I play, I just don't win. Doesn't matter. I'm just not meant to win. 3.6 here, South Island, in between the area of Wellington, it looks like here, between South and North Island area. Somewhat of a light to moderate earthquake there, 16 kilometers deep. Go ahead and check out the earthquake drums here across the area. And as you can see, we got a little bit of movement there stirring up there across the Fiji Islands area. That's going to be that signature right here that you see very strongly across the region of New Zealand. Is going to be that activity stirring up across the Tonga Trench. That showed up pretty nicely. A lot of deeper movement there stirring up across the area of the Tonga Trench areas. So, yeah, we just got the 3.6 coming into my phone. Cook Strait, New Zealand area. That has not shown up yet on the seismograph stations out here. But as you can see, there's definitely some momentum and stress building up out here across the area of the Tonga Trench, northern edge here of the Kermadec Trench area. Watch this pretty closely, okay, because that can apply major strain up here across the surface regions, and that includes areas around New Zealand. Further activity, let's go ahead and check out the west coast here, see what we got going on. We did see a little bit of activity stirring up out here across the California region. In the Bay Area specifically, a 3.1 coming off of the Calaveras fault zone. That's going to be this fault system that kind of runs here, Eastern Bay down into the San Andreas fault. Okay, that runs into the plate boundary. It's a secondary fault system here with the plate boundary. That's a major fault system that is very capable of producing some accumulated stress rates with a large earthquake potential. But right now, 3.1 and a 2.6 coming in earlier this evening, about an hour or so ago, into the Bay Area of California. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that. Looks like there's a little bit of further aftershock activity following that movement tonight into the area just outside of the Alum Rock area. Keep an eye on that region pretty closely. California has been, for the most part, specifically very quiet, but things do stir up on occasion, like tonight. Southern California, most of the activity here across Southern California, very minor, light microquake activity here across the San Bernardino Mountains. But we'll definitely keep an eye on that area. Let's go ahead and check out the tremor map here tonight. 298 epicenters. Goodness of tremor out there across the Cascadia. Kind of got a split here between Washington and a little bit here in Oregon. So we're looking at the center portion of the Cascadia subduction zone showing some activity. Haven't really seen any major uptick in activity here across the Oregon coast, aside from this one little 1.4 earlier this morning, it looks like, there in southern Oregon. But remember, tremor activity. The tremor adds further strain up here against the Cascadia subduction zone. That's the big one that we're talking. We're not talking about an 8.1. The 8.1 down in Southern California will be squashed by a 9.0 or greater up here across the Cascadia subduction zone. So when we talk about the big one, the 8 does not come into mind. We're talking about a 9.0 or greater across the Cascadia subduction zone. And it's been 323 years since the last major rupture. The folks out there that are living the life along the coastline, yeah, you probably don't want to. Look into the future of the potential tsunami out here across the area of Oregon and Washington and Northern California. It's just it's a grave area in terms of potential damage, but I think folks need to be advised. They need to be aware of the potential out there, because not everyone out here deserves to be inundated by a tsunami, right? You have to pay attention to what's going on out here. The Oregon coastline is beautiful. Bandon, Coos Bay, Reedsport, Florence, Eugene's inland. But we're talking about Newport, Lincoln City, Gold Beach, Oregon. Some beautiful areas out there that are on sea level that are very vulnerable to at least a 30 or 40 foot high tsunami. Sometimes potentially higher. I've heard some reports of at least 150 foot high tsunami reaching inland here to the coast ranges of Oregon, Washington, Northern California. So there's been studies. I think if you live up here, you should know about the Cascadia. If not, then I would suggest chiming in to the any news agency or YouTube channel that presents a Cascadia subduction zone earthquake that is presented here to the folks there along the Pacific Northwest. It's a major hazard, folks. That's not fear mongering. That's it's just a setup that's waiting to be happen. It's going to happen, and we can see it out here. Look at that major subduction level out here across the Cascadia Basin, all up and down the Pacific coast here. That is some land being subducted underneath the area of the North American plate. Look at that ridging. That's some incredible stress being built up over there across the ages. And no doubt a 9-pointer or at least greater, potentially greater, could be in the forecast. It's not a maybe. That's when, I guess. You know, that when is it going to happen? It's not an if. That has been known for a long time that we are going to be experiencing something damaging out here that no one else has seen. And I would suggest that everyone be prepared for that. Don't get caught off guard. Goodness, got some beautiful land out there, some good people. But you know, let your guard down, and you will be surprised very quickly. Southern California, there's that activity across the San Bernardino Mountains. Nothing major going on out there, but we'll definitely watch it. We had a 2.5 Kelly, Wyoming area. Let's see what we got for the Yellowstone seismograph stations here, just real quick again. And just take a quick glance. Seismic activity obviously would look like something like this. But this has been somewhat common here in the late evening hours, and I'm not for sure what's going on out here across the Norris Junction, Upper Falls area. I do want to check here real quick with the Windy app and see what we got far as radar activity goes, because I need to discredit that. I need to discredit that there's thunderstorm activity occurring out there. So there is some thunderstorm activity occurring out around the Cody, Wyoming area. Let's put the last 6 hours of activity in play and see what we got here across. I'm looking mainly across the southeastern area of the Yellowstone area. And that's what we're seeing. That's exactly what we're seeing. Goodness. That's exactly what we're seeing here. Thunderstorm activity blow through. That's it. And that showed up pretty nicely across the southeastern edge here of the Yellowstone region. Showed up Norris Junction as well. But that's what we see when a thunderstorm blows through. That is not earthquake activity at all. All right, moving on here across the area. I don't even know where I'm at. Looks like Puerto Rico area. Southwestern edge here of Puerto Rico. Very active over the last 24 hours. Mostly twos. But we definitely need to keep an eye on that area. But with a deeper scale movement here, with a deeper scale activity here across the Tonga Trench, we need to watch surface areas, because this is a major subduction zone, right? You got the general northwestward movement here across the area for momentum. Got the Pacific plate as a whole moving to the northwest. Deeper movement, right? That's that strain and stress. Obviously, common sense would tell us here to watch the areas upstream for some further strain and buildup. That includes areas, Kermadec Trench, Tonga Trench areas. And not talking about deeper movement, we're talking about surface earthquake activity. So we'll definitely continue to watch that here in the near future. Mediterranean area and the Turkey region, a couple threes and twos out there. Some earthquake activity across the Atlantic. Nothing major going on. South America, seeing a swarm of activity across the Peru-Chile Trench up and down the area. Some threes and fours. And, of course, the Middle America Trench here. Pretty active up and down the board, right? Kind of making its way up into northern, or at least in Southern California. If you think about it, generally speaking here, this would make sense for that to make its way up here across the west coast. So we'll continue to watch this area northward here across Southern California. We're not really seeing any major swarming activity right now, but keep an eye on the west coast area. All right, let's go over to the space weather activity. We're looking at a sufficient C flare coming in here. Looks like a long duration C flare right now from a far side sunspot. Let me tell you, as soon as these things get out of view, it's like, okay, let's party. Time to party. No hazard to Earth. All right, let's blow off an X flare. But no, this isn't really an X flare, but it's a C flare on there on the northwestern side of the sun, and it's stirring up a little bit of activity on the global D-layer absorption map here, as you can see, centered over Asia, mostly over Asia right now. It's not a major effect, but it is a long duration C flare event, as you can see here on the chart, almost peeking out into the M flare category. So we'll kind of keep an eye on that. What do we have for the Earth-facing side directly, well, this thing has been sparking a little bit earlier this evening. This area here, the sun flare activity. And also down on the southeastern limb of the sun, that does harbor some potential as well. Let's go ahead and check out the magnetogram here of the sunspot region. So we did see a little bit of flaring kicking off from this area right here. We've got a newer sunspot region on the southeastern limb that does have a little bit of complexity there within the sunspot area. It's fairly massive, so we'll watch that as it comes around the bend. No promises, but it does look, a little bit on the active side there as far as solar flare activity goes. Right now, a 99% chance for a C flare, M flare at 45, X flare around 5% chance. So, again, we're stretching up towards the solar maximum. So this will only be advanced and more active as we head towards the coming months towards solar maximum, solar 25. All right, what else we got here? Anything major going on across the weather forecast? Well, let's check out the symbol here across the states. We peaked out at about 105 degrees here around the west coast today. Tomorrow, a little bit cooler. Notice the pressure system squeezing in here to the Pacific Northwest. We're not really expecting any major cool down, but, it's... I'm not really happy with this map until we see something blue out here. There is troughing going on out here across the western coast and the eastern Pacific. Notice these lines curve down towards the first week of August. So we'll see how that plays out. I'm hoping for an early winter. And I'm not even joking. I'm willing to trade someone right now that hates winter to enjoy the California sunshine and the long dog days of summer. So if you're looking for a long duration summer and you hate winter, let's make a deal because I do not want another long summer. I'm done with it. I'm getting too old for it. I'm getting to the point of where I want wintertime to stir up when it's wintertime. I want the fall crisp mornings when it's fall. I don't want 110 degrees in September like it's typical out here in California. So make me a deal, and I'll shake hands tonight. I'm not even joking. Yeah. Kansas, Nebraska area specifically, maybe Oklahoma, Missouri, Arkansas area. But yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Make me a deal, and we'll call it. Either way, folks, just pay attention to what's going on down here across the Tonga area. Tonga obviously upstream, but we're seeing quite a bit of movement. That's a major deep scale activity here across the areas of the Kermadec Trench, Tonga Trench area. When this happens, there's two things that can take place out here. Some major large scale uptick across the plate boundary westward, or some major uptick here across the surface levels here of the Tonga Trench, Kermadec Trench area. So just be on guard. We'll catch you guys back here Monday. Are you serious? Is it Monday tomorrow? I'm sorry, guys. It is Monday, July 24th tomorrow, so I apologize. But hey, let's make it through it. Make it the best week we can, and we'll make it to the weekend. We'll catch you guys back here tomorrow sometime. Have a good night.